A lot of times in the academic community we get kind of scoffed at for being, slam poets and not being educated. And I often feel, even in queer communities, like I'm the least educated person in the room.
Shit. Excuse me.
I feel like poetry has taught me more than anything ever in my life, and so I want to do this piece for you that just, I don't know, just says some shit. Confessions of an Uneducated Queer. I don't really understand Judith Butler. I once tried to reference Foucault at a party to make myself sound smart, and my friend politely corrected me and said it's pronounced Foucault. The only reason I've tried to read either of them is because my roommates who went to college left their books at my house. For years, I operated under 3 beliefs gifted to me by lovers. 1, I don't get to be gay. 2, there is no such thing as bisexual. And 3, I am the straightest woman on the planet. I don't think I've ever listened to an entire Tegan and Sarah song. Sorry. I've only seen 1 season of The L Word. I had sex with at least 3 women before I was able to call it sex. The only thing they teach you less about in school than how to make sense of your own body is how to support others in theirs. Something a poet named Tara Hardy taught me is called allyship. I first heard the term binding in an Andrea Gibson workshop on gender where Ray talked about how he felt when binding his breasts. Ray just happened to date my sister in the early stages of his transition. My sister and I stumbled all over the terms and pronouns. We weren't sure if Ray was a transsexual girl or a transgender boy until the poet Dane Cutler sat us down in an ice cream shop in Seattle and said, Lauren, it is time for Trans 101.
Yes.
Wow. That class cost me $4.50 and a half hour of my friend's patience. I first heard the term cisgender when the poet Sam Sachs and his boyfriend were escorting me and my girlfriend to the most famous lesbian bar in San Francisco, and then said, wow, they don't usually let cis dudes hang out in there so long. I was embarrassed to ask what he meant. But when he said that he identified with the gender assigned to him at birth, I felt a sudden wave of comfort wash over me in acknowledgement of my own privilege. $12 in whiskey sodas and a loving bearded smirk, which led me to learn the term passing privilege. When I was dating a woman I worked with in the state capitol, and I was afraid to kiss her in the hallway with her fancy suit and her short hair, until the poet Denise Jolly looked me in the eye and said, Lauren, it is not fair for you to let her take all the shit. Getting to conveniently be straight doesn't help anyone. $3 in cheesy grits and a friend unapologetically telling me about myself. Everything I know about being a good queer, I've learned from poets.
Yes.
Poets are cheaper than college. We do not all get to travel the country and get schooled by poets. We don't all have access to the most helpful words. I was afraid to write this because I didn't want to fuck it up. Writing poems about things that you don't know a lot about can be very problematic. But not writing poems because you're afraid to fuck it up can also be problematic. The world is problematic. Please, fuck it up. This is for the first time I heard the term heteronormative, and I felt like I was handed a corkscrew after years of opening the bottle with my teeth. This is for the dyke at the gas company who had no idea who Ani DeFranco was. This is for not identifying as bisexual, but paying respects to everyone who fought to keep the B in LGBT. This is for the Q, for the Q, for the I, for the A. What's that spell? Hey! I hope someday we can string so many letters together that it forms a new word that takes all of our mouths to pronounce. Who can never get my love's pronouns right, but bought me every Rita Mae Brown book so that I could be a good lesbian. My friend who told me I had to read Stone Butch Blues before they could have another conversation with me for learning how to properly carry the word femme. And then dropping the whole tray on the hard tile. This is for trying on new words, dusty attic words, slick spoon words, fuck up everybody's shit and look good doing it words. This is for the girls that still get drunk to kiss other girls. I get it. Oppression is a loud room. Sometimes you can't hear your own pulse. This is for my daughter, who stood up to the kids when they called her friend gay. Mom, they said it like it was a bad thing. For my best friend in high school, Luther Pegues, he was so convinced that he was going to hell that he fashioned his life into a loaded pistol. Luther, if you are still alive, please come find me. I wish I had had all the smart words back then. For every Jerry Fine, joining the military to get to be gay, learning all the gay music so that they could have a code to speak in, for survival, for all of those that survived under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and wish they still had it as a shield of protection, for every Beth Ann sneaking into the bookstore in the next town to read everything on the 2-foot LGBT section before going to her Bible study for the folks that can't read, but still subvert the dominant paradigm on the daily. This is for Ray, who listened to the first draft of this poem and wanted to not have a problem with it, who sat down with me until he felt good about it, and then his father called him on the phone and said he didn't come from a family of faggots. This is for all of us, scraping the binary from our softest parts and being gentle with each other as we fuck it all up into the fancy, educated queer theorists